Welcome to the West Texas View. I'm Johnny Lou Avery, and visiting with us again today is a person that was here last Sunday. Colonel James Avery is the retired U.S. Colonel with 30 years in the military, but he has continued to be close to the military because he's now in the Texas State Guard. But between those two, he taught ROTC, and I want us to talk a lot about junior ROTC in high school and in college. But in the meantime, before we start that, James, I want us to talk a little bit about, you talked last Sunday about getting a lot of benefits from being in the military.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you feel like you have a payback to give.
Yes, and I think every person has a payback. Whenever you're growing up, maybe you played Little League football, whatever it might be, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and they never think about who is volunteering to make that happen. Because those things don't just happen.
That's
Someone
right.
has to do it, and they do it with no pay. They do it because they love it, and I feel like it's a payback time. Now, I have used the state of Texas, and I've used the military to benefit me, to travel all over the world, give me all the exciting things that I've done. And I feel like I owe America, I owe Texas, and I owe my community something. And I'm willing to give something for free. You know, you've got your Rotary Club, your Kiwanis, your Toastmasters. All those things are in a non-pay status, but people do those because they love the community. And if someone doesn't do volunteer work for free, the things we enjoy in life just don't happen.
So you're paying rent for your little corner of the world.
Absolutely, and I feel like I owe that. Now, I love the military. That's been my career since I was probably 19 or 20 years old. Retired from the military, but there's other options and things that I'm involved with. While I was on active duty, I taught college ROTC at Mississippi State. Had a wonderful experience teaching college kids. When I finally retired, I said, you know, I like the uniform, I like the organizational skills, and I've got something that I'd like to give back to the kids. So I started teaching junior ROTC, and I taught that for 13 years in Mississippi as well as Louisiana. Not to try to recruit, because junior ROTC doesn't recruit people in the military. All we try to do is teach them to be good citizens. What is right, esprit de corps, leadership.
Discipline.
Just organizational skills, things that you need to succeed in life. Going right back to the fact you don't have to be a rocket scientist to succeed, but you've got to have social graces, you have to have manners, you have to be courteous, and you have to be on time. Come prepared. Any organization requires that, whether you be a civilian organization or military. So I taught that, and I really enjoyed that, and the kids benefited from it. And it's nice now, 20 years later, to get a phone call from a kid that says, hey, thank you for what you did, because what you said in the classroom made a big influence. And teachers have the same impact. Teachers do the same thing.
And I'm a retired college administrator, and I know that feedback is what keeps us going.
It makes you feel so good that you did have a little point, a little something to influence an individual's career. And
that made a
teachers have
difference
that.
in their life.
That made a difference. Even when I was teaching junior ROTC, the phone would ring at my office, and it'd be some Spec 4 in Baghdad. Say, Colonel Avery, just want to call and say hello to you. What are you doing? Well, I'm in Baghdad, you know, humma. And I'd say, you're supposed to be working. He said, I just want to call and tell you hello, and wish the kids back in the back of the school having a great day. But payback, we all have a payback. And right now I'm very involved in the Texas State Guard. As you know, the Texas Military Forces is comprised of 3 areas. It has the Army National Guard, the Air National Guard, and the State Guard. The first 2 are a pay status. They're a drilling status, a part-time soldier. And the other one is strictly volunteer, and there's no pay involved. But it's a payback to the state. And we worked strictly on getting ready for hurricanes to hit in the Gulf. And if that should happen, then we're another force for the governor to mobilize and set up evacuation points, set up shelters, set up mass care, tracking people that have lost everything in a hurricane or a flood or any type of disaster. The nation, I think, really learned a lot after 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina. They realized that you've got to be more prepared for emergencies. And a lot of communities and a lot of states have not been. So the
They've not
governors
had a reason to.
not a reason, but then the governors now have really realized we've got organized people, military forces, along with all the civilian forces, the FEMA, the Homeland Security, the local judges, and all the Red Cross, things that come in together. But there's a military structure and an organizational chain of command that really pulls it together. So the Texas State Guards does that. And we drill one Saturday a month at no pay. We buy our own uniforms.
And your own transportation.
And own transportation. The only
place.
time we would get paid is if there's a disaster and the governor decides to mobilize you. And at that point, we all make the same pay, regardless of your rank. The lowliest private, it makes the same as the 2-star general. Doing different jobs, different responsibilities, but we all make the same. And that's when the governor needs us. So I'm really involved with that, and would like to push anyone that would like to pay back. And you don't have to be prior military. We go by civilian skills because our mission is not a military mission.
You have a doctor's team.
We have a huge doctor's team that has Operation Lone Star with doctors, nurses, medical people that go through the valley a couple of times a year and give free medical care. So a payback is what everyone needs to realize they need to do, because it's a payback to your state, to your community, and it's kind of like being involved in the church.
And it's being a role model to the young people also, because
someone's watching everyone. I tell the
right.
kids, you're on
right.
a school bus, high school kids driving, and all of a sudden you see a 3rd or 4th grader watching you, and they're watching your actions, they're watching your language, they're watching your body language, and they're emulating you. They're going to say, I want to be just like that person. And you never know who you're impacting or who you're influencing. So someone's watching, and they're watching us as adults. And I hope that I've had some positive influence on some young people, giving advice, helping them on all that. It's just a payback for me.
And you've had a lot of opportunity to do that in your substitute teaching.
I love to substitute.
Yeah, because it's, and most people hate substituting, but
well, the military has taught me when you walk into a classroom, you're in charge. You're the teacher, the students are not. You teach the class. Good students like me. Bad students probably don't like me because I'm going to run the classroom.
But at any rate, you know that they're listening because you're keeping order. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a minute and continue this conversation. Join us then.